Hey guys, it's Cal again here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please do go and check us out at lightingdoctor.ca. This is the second part of our video series all about low voltage landscape lighting. Thanks to everybody who tuned into the last episode and left us questions and comments, and I'm going to get into those in a second. Please be sure to follow us on YouTube. Just search for the Lighting Doctor, or on social media at Lighting Doc, to follow this series of videos. And in the last video, I talked about a few different things. I talked about really some of the benefits and advantages of low voltage landscape lighting. The biggest is I think it looks cool. The reason that we kind of got into this and last year really started talking about the do-it-yourself kits is that we realized the benefits of the low voltage options that are available and the LED options that are now available that weren't always there. They have been around for a while, but they haven't been used a whole lot by the industry, and people still stick a lot to the old halogen systems for a couple of reasons. One is just it's what they know. So some of the old school guys out there will still use the old halogen systems, even though the LED technology has made it so much better and so much easier, so much more cost effective, and so on. But some guys just like doing that. And the other reason is it's cheaper to buy a halogen fixture. I mean, same as at your home, it's cheaper to buy a halogen bulb for your kitchen or your bathroom or whatever than it is to buy an LED bulb. But there's differences between the two. Power saving is a huge one, but when it comes to low voltage landscape lighting, like we talked about in the last video, the real advantage is to you, the homeowner or the installer, how it makes it so much easier for you to install a low voltage system, because now you're dealing with less power, so it's a lot safer. You don't have to worry about things like voltage drop as much. That system's going to last longer. It gives you lots of design flexibility and options to add on later. You don't have to use these big bulky transformers. You can use small efficient transformers now. So we talked about that a little bit in the last video. I did get some questions about that because some people have an existing system that uses that uses halogen bulbs, and they want to go retrofit to LED. Which, if you've got a system that was fairly well designed with a fairly good fixture, you probably can do that fairly easily just by most of the time you'll have an uplight that just takes a simple MR16 bulb like this. You can go buy a good outdoor rated LED one and retrofit that. And in this video, where I'm going to talk a little bit more about exactly how to install a system, you're going to see what we go and do, and I'm going to explain why we go and do this with taking a really good quality, what was a halogen or incandescent fixture, extremely durable, extremely good quality, that we're able to get at a really good price. And instead of buying an integrated LED fixture, which all that means is that the LED board or chip is actually built into the fixture, what we do to help save money is that we actually go and just use these fixtures and buy an LED bulb and retrofit that fixture with the LED bulb. And the reason we do that is a couple. The biggest thing is cost savings to us. It's a lot more cost effective for us to do that because the halogen fixtures are cheaper and the bulbs are usually cheaper than buying the integrated fixtures. The advantage to the integrated fixture is you obviously don't have to retrofit it, so that's one less step. And usually the warranties are a little bit longer because those they're better able to handle heat, so they're supposed to last longer, which they do. But I mean, how long do you need your system to last? The nice thing with these is you can retrofit the bulb, and if you're using a good quality fixture and a good quality bulb, you're still going to get a lot of life out of that fixture. And and it also, if that bulb does happen to go out, even if it's 5 or 10 years down the road, you can just go replace that bulb, as opposed to if it's a chip in the fixture, you got to go replace that whole fixture. So it can be cheaper a lot longer down the road. The other reason I like it is it gives us a ton of flexibility. And I'll talk about this in the third video about different angles, beam angles, and wattages and brightness and all that kind of stuff, and how you can go and change just that bulb in the same fixture and get a whole bunch of different variety of effects, right? Whereas with an integrated one, you can get all those same effects, but you have to go and buy the right fixture in order to do that. So you really need to know what you're doing ahead of time and exactly what that's going to look like before you can go and buy that fixture. Whereas if it's your first time installing lights, you might not know exactly what that light's going to look like. Even if you go around with a flashlight like we recommend, with a adjustable lens on it and try and see what looks good, it's not the same as when you actually put that fixture in. Whereas when you go and retrofit it with a bulb like this, if you put a fixture and bury it and don't like the way it looks, or it doesn't shoot quite far enough, or it doesn't quite have the angle, you can just go and simply change the bulb in there and create a whole new effect. So that's why I like these, is it gives us a whole bunch of flexibility. The other question I had about retrofitting is, well, how does that affect the wattages and the transformer and stuff? So if you have an existing system that is a halogen system, chances are you're using way more wattage than you will for an LED system. So if you have a system and you retrofit it to LED, you're not going to have any issues, because you're going to be using, roughly 20% of the wattage that you were using with a halogen one. So for example, most standard uplights that you find out there that are halogen bulbs are 20 watts. This LED bulb in here is the same brightness and the same color temperature as that 20 watt halogen bulb, but it only uses 4.5 watts. So if you had 10 halogen bulbs at 20 watts each, you need 200 watt transformer, and really bigger than that, and I'll explain that in the video that's coming up. But you need about a 250 to 300 watt transformer. Now if you have 10 LED lights that are just as bright, you can now use a 60 watt transformer and still run all those way more efficiently, way more effectively than you could. So yes, retrofitting to LED and using LED does affect the wattages and the size of the transformer, but on the plus side, for the good side, especially if you're a homeowner and you're doing it yourself. So in this video coming up, again, keep those questions coming, but I'm going to show you step by step exactly, some of the different fixtures that you're going to want to use, where you're going to want to go and use them, how to go and make sure you're placing your lights in the right place, how to wire them properly, how to make sure you're using the proper connections that are going to last, how to size your transformer, how to set up your transformer, how to bury your wire, how to make your system a Wi-Fi system. Another thing I didn't mention, which I will mention because we're getting into the holidays, the other reason I like this as an option is because for Christmas time, pretty cool, I can just go buy a colored lens like this that slips in here, covers that up, and then I can get a nice green or red light just for the holiday season. You can also get lenses like this that will, instead of having to go change the bulb, which again can be a little bit pricier, you can actually get filters like this that will spread the beam angle on that light, as well as frost the lens so you don't create as many hot spots. So tons and tons of options. Send me questions about that. I'd love to answer them. cal@lightingdoctor.ca. And a lot of you guys have seen this video on how to install low voltage landscape lighting. If this is your first time, hope you enjoy it. Hope it walks you through step by step, and I hope that you guys decide to put in a system this year, because like I said before, it just looks amazing. So I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again for watching. Enjoy. First step in installing landscape lighting is determining what kind of lights you're going to use. Up and accent lighting is the most popular, commonly used for highlighting trees and different structures around their property. Wash lighting is great for lighting the exterior of homes and featuring and casting shadows on beautiful stonework around the property. Path and garden lighting also very popular for lighting pathways and gardens and different features around the property. And finally, hardscape lighting is another popular light commonly used around barbecue areas, fences, decks, steps, and so on. A great way to determine what's going to look good on your property is simply by taking a flashlight at night and going and highlighting and shining it on different features and structures around your landscape to see what's going to look great. Another tip or shortcut is to use a 9-volt battery. If you already have landscape lights, just hook the wires up to the terminals and you should be able to light those to see what looks great. When choosing your lights, something we recommend is using really high quality incandescent and halogen fixtures and retrofitting them with energy efficient LED technology bulbs that will not only save you money on power, but will also last pretty much the life of your fixture so that you're not having to change bulbs on a yearly basis. Once you have your lights assembled, the next step is starting to place your lights. We recommend using a rubber mallet when you have a good ground stake and pounding that in to really get that light nice and stable so that it doesn't get knocked over or banged up down the road. Once you've got your light installed, the next step is going around and placing your wire at every fixture. Be sure to leave extra wire at every fixture just in case you need to make future changes. The next step is stripping your wire and getting it ready to wire. It can very easily be done using wire cutters or wire strippers, and then wiring your fixtures using waterproof gel-filled connections. This is very important because cheap connections will lead to all kinds of problems down the road. These are called BVS2 snap lock connectors. Are very easy to use. They're gel-filled and hold the wires together nice and strong so that you're not having to repair wires on a year-to-year basis. Another good option is something called a DBRY connection. Also used if you have to tee off or splice into your wire. Definitely use these. It comes in two parts, a moret that holds the wires tight and then a gel-filled tube to keep them waterproof. Please stay away from the do-it-yourself wire connectors that you see at your Home Depots and Canadian Tires that pierce the wire, because when you pierce the wire, there's just that much more chance that you're going to have errors down the road. A question I get asked all the time is, how do I know what size transformer to use? Very simply, add up the wattage of all the lights on your project. If you're using a 5-watt light and you've got 10 of them, that's a total of 50 watts. A general rule of thumb is to size your transformer 20% larger than what you actually need. So if you need 50 watts total, sizing it 20% larger, you would want to use a 60-watt transformer or larger. This is an example of a Kichler transformer that comes with a photocell to turn your lights on and off with dusk and dawn, as well as a simple and very easy to use timer. Once you've selected your transformer, the next step is hooking up and wiring all your lights to the transformer. And you usually find 2 taps on the bottom, one for a common connection and one for a 12 volt or 15 volt connection. Wire those in, mount your transformer, plug it into your GFCI receptacle, turn it on, and you're good to go. If you want to easily turn your transformer into a Wi-Fi transformer, we highly recommend using the Weon Outdoor Wi-Fi Timer. Just basically plug your transformer into it and set your timer and you're good to go. And the final step, once you know all your lights are working, is burying the wire by making a small trench with a flat-ended shovel, pushing the wire down 6 to 8 inches, stomping everything down nice and clean, and you're done. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that. Hope it taught you everything you need to know about installing your own landscape lighting system. I hope it gave you the confidence and the tools to go and do that. Just remember that, it doesn't matter to me where you go and buy your lights and your fixtures and your kits and everything. Just know that if you're going to lightingdoctor.ca and getting your kits and everything with us, you're going to get everything put together for you, so you don't even have to worry about sizing your transformer and wire connections and all that stuff that I just explained in that video. It's all basically done for you, so it's just a plug and play system. But a couple things I forgot to mention at the start of the video is, we also talked about in our first video, if you own any kind of business that does anything outdoors, there's definitely some benefits to looking at adding landscape lighting systems to your quotes, to your packages, to whatever it is that you do. I mean, there's some huge advantages, just revenue-wise as well as referral-wise, because landscape lighting, it looks amazing and it does generate a lot of referrals. The other thing we talked about too, I talked about price and how you know if you're getting a good versus a poor quality fixture. I mean, there's a bunch of factors, but a general rule of thumb, as I said, stick to that $70 to $100 range for a light, and you'll know. And when I say that, that's for a system like this where we're actually retrofitting a bulb. If you're buying a integrated LED fixture that the chip is actually built on board and in it, I mean, you're probably $100 plus. So that's also another comparison. And that's why we chose this option, because instead of having to go spend $150 on that fixture now, just by doing some things that are maybe a little out of the box, and maybe I get criticized a lot for doing this, but I know that it still gives you incredible value for the price. It's just retrofitting an old fixture with an LED bulb, or a good quality halogen fixture with an LED bulb. can really bring that cost down. So, I mean, those are some of the things I touched in the last video. The next video, the last video, I'm going to get into some of the techniques and the different lights to use in different areas and how you can really make your property stand out from everybody else's. Whether you've been installing lights as a landscaper for years, whether it's your first time or not, I guarantee you'll see some things in that next video that 90% of even professional landscape lighting, and I shouldn't even call it, but people who install landscape lights for a living do not use these techniques and totally miss the boat because they're buying and putting in way more lights than they need to. Whereas if they just learn some of the techniques that I'm going to show you in this next video, they could probably create a lot better effect and use a lot less lights, which is going to save them money. It's going to save the homeowner money. And if you're doing it yourself, it's going to save you some money. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Keep those comments and questions coming. Visit us at lightingdoctor.ca. Email me personally, cal@lightingdoctor.ca, or follow us on social media at lightingdoc, and we'll be happy to answer any of those questions. Thanks so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next video.